All right, welcome in everyone on a Wednesday afternoon. You see the title, you know what this is about. We are going to be discussing the report from CP the franchise, one of the most trusted sources of information, one of the most trusted voices in the Knicks community. He says that the Knicks have one more move up their sleeves, and who that move is for? Karl Anthony Towns. You heard that right, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Bryce Gelman. Thank you all for coming in here to this live stream. It's going to be a polarizing discussion that we're going to have today. Something that, you're either on one side or you're on the other. There really isn't, and give me a second. There really isn't a middle part of this. This is two sides of the coin. You're either on one side or you're on the other. There's no middle. You either want Julius Randle in the Knicks next year, or you want Karl Anthony Towns or whoever else. You want the replacement. You want to get rid of Julius Randle. But it's either keep Julius or trade Julius. That's what this argument ultimately boils down to. And the Karl Anthony Towns discussion is another part of it, of course, and it's certainly an intriguing part of the trade Randle camp and all the rumors and whatnot. But yes, the other day, CP the franchise said that, and listen, this is like the league's worst kept secret that the Knicks want Karl Anthony Towns. But he's insinuating that the Knicks want to trade for him this offseason. The Knicks still have some unfinished business left to address here in free agency, here in the offseason before the summer league gets underway. I don't know if I buy it. I don't know I don't know if I subscribe to the belief that the Knicks are going to go out and trade for Karl Anthony Towns. Again, it's intriguing. The prospect of having the 5-out offense that the Celtics have with the catch-and-shoot threat that Karl Anthony Towns is on the perimeter, the versatility that you could have with your lineups, considering the fact that Tom Thibodeau has refrained from playing Julius Randle at the 5. And we'll see if that changes with two of the best wing defenders in the NBA. I think it does. I think he'll be fine playing OG Anunoby at the 4, Mikal at the 3, and Josh Hart or DiVincenzo or Josh Hart at the 4, whatever. You catch my drift. I understand. I see it. I see the vision behind going out and trading for Karl Anthony Towns. And I want to start with this. And this is the positive to all of this. And this is what you want when you trade for a guy who's making $50+ million a year, a former number 1 overall draft pick, and someone who is probably a top 30 player in the NBA. I don't even know if you could say that, but here are the stats. And these, jump right off the page for anyone who's going to look at them. Julius shot 35% on catch and shoot threes this past year. Guess what Karl Anthony Towns was? 42.8%. That's enough to make you consider what this Knicks team would look like if Karl Anthony Towns was on the perimeter. My issue with all this, and I'll get to a lot more of it, but I think just on the surface level, like what we're looking at here, just stats. You could also point to the fact that Karl Anthony Towns against the Celtics is a lot worse than Julius Randle against the Celtics. If we're really making this Celtics argument, we want to go out. If I'm Leon Rose, we need to go out. We need to replicate exactly what the Celtics are doing. Why not just have players who play well against the Celtics? That's the other part of the argument. I don't necessarily know how much that really accounts for how good the Knicks could be, because Karl Anthony Towns on the Timberwolves and the Knicks as a whole with Karl Anthony Towns and the team could be different than the Knicks as a whole with Julius Randle and vice versa. Julius Randle against the Celtics, 26 points per game, 8 rebounds per game, and 4 assists per game. 44% from the field, 38% from deep. Julius Randle plays well against the Celtics. Okay. So what? Both of these stats are so what stats. I think that the Karl Anthony Towns, if you miss it, Karl Anthony Towns shoots 43% from catch and shoot threes. Julius Randle is 35% from catch. When was the last time you could even remember Julius Randle taking a catch and shoot 3? He's so ball dominant that the step backs, the spinning jumpers, but from 3, it's the step back. That's what he does. He gets into the isolation. He catches the ball at the top of the paint or on one of the wings, and he takes one of those patent step backs, or he gets open on his own and hits or takes the shot. There are levels to this. These rumors and the possibility of the Knicks going out and trading for Karl Anthony Towns. and the positives and the negatives. And I want to focus on just what Julius Randle brings to you. Because as I started out saying, this is not a Karl-Anthony Towns versus Julius Randle argument. This is a Julius Randle staying or being traded argument, because that's what it ultimately boils down to. The Knicks went 14-2 in January with Julius Randle fully healthy, with OG Anunoby and Julius Randle on the court at the exact same time. I understand you had Isaiah Hartenstein manning the middle, a healthy Isaiah Hartenstein. I understand that Mitchell Robinson is your center. The possibility that Julius Randle is going to have to carry the brunt of the load if Mitchell Robinson gets hurt. That is a very high possibility. But how could you possibly trade away a guy who averages 25, 10, and 5? Like just looking at it on paper, I understand the prospect of having Karl-Anthony Towns on the perimeter with the catch and shoot, the 5-out offense. Again, it's very intriguing. Julius Randle provides you the grit. He provides you the determination. There's another part of it, of course, like, the attitude issues that we've seen from Julius Randle, him sitting at the end of the bench, his demeanor looking completely dejected, and then being very frustrating for the majority of Knicks fans. That is the other part of it. How could you possibly say that you don't want Julius Randle to finish what he started with this organization? Him and Leon Rose, the two catalysts for where we are at right now. I say Leon number 1, Julius number 2. What could Leon Rose have built around if Julius Randle wasn't already in place? And again, I'm going to keep honing in on this. I'm going to keep harping on this one point. 14-2 in January. How could you possibly go out in the middle of the offseason after you already made this crazy acquisition where you gave up 5 first-round picks for Mikal Bridges? You got people left and right calling you out and say you gave up too much for Mikal Bridges. Now you're going to go out, you're going to give up Julius Randle, Mitchell Robinson, and another player for Karl-Anthony Towns? You're going to sacrifice your entire front court depth to acquire someone who fits slightly better in your offensive system and who squares up against the Celtics a little bit better than what you currently have. I can't fathom that decision. I can't fathom not letting Julius run it back with the guys this year. And CP made the comment in this report that he made that, Julius Randle hasn't re-signed yet. It's because he can't. The Knicks could only re-sign him in the month of August and then on. It's not that he hasn't put the pen to paper. It's that he hasn't gotten the opportunity to put the pen to paper. And maybe he decides, why would I want to continuously be a part of an organization that is shopping me? And this, nothing is confirmed here, right? But Julius Randle, of course, Leon Rose has had trade discussions with Julius Randle being the centerpiece of what the Knicks are going to give up for whoever the player they want to get is. Of course, that has been the case. But what else has given you the inclination that Julius Randle doesn't want to be a part of this organization even more long-term? He came here in 2019 after the Knicks just missed out on their potential home run swing of Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. The consolation prize was Julius Randle. Guess who's still with the franchise that they signed with on that day? And guess who's not? Julius is still with the Knicks. It has been a roller coaster ride. There have been plenty of ups and plenty of downs. You're going to trade him away now that the team actually has championship aspirations? I can't see it happening. That's another story, though, of whether or not it's going to happen first, whether or not the Knicks actually want to do it. I understand the intrigue. I understand the wet dream of Karl-Anthony Towns as the 5 on a Knicks team that is going to be just a juggernaut offensively. I understand that. Is it really worth what you have to give up to get him, though? Is it really worth giving up Julius and Mitch, the 2 longest tenured Knicks? 2 guys that have set the culture from the second they came in with the team. And you're going to trade those 2 guys away for Karl-Anthony Towns. What did Karl-Anthony Towns ever win before Anthony Edwards rose to stardom? What did he ever win? What was he ever able to accomplish on his own? And of course, this is a different story. This is a completely different discussion. You put Karl Anthony Towns on this deep-ass Knicks team, it's different than when he was on the Timberwolves. But he did have Jimmy Butler, Tom Thibodeau coaching. They made the playoffs great. Where did they go from there? That was a solid team. Karl Anthony Towns, Jimmy Butler, whoever else, they did nothing. Spoiler alert, nothing. Julius Randle has stuck with this organization, and loyalty should be rewarded. Also, here's the other thing. Julius Randle has so much more value to the Knicks than to any other team. I mean, have you seen? I mean, I understand these mock trades from the media organizations, from the outlets are garbage. You take them with a major grain of salt, or you don't even look at them at all because they're that bad. But even through what GMs and anonymous scouts and anonymous whatever are putting out there for Julius Randle, the Knicks need him so much more than other teams need him, apparently. He offers you so much more than what the value is out there for him right now. And I understand he's coming off this shoulder injury, but even when he was at his best, he was getting disrespected by the media. He fits the mold of the Knicks, the constant underdogs, the overlooked scrappy guys. He fits that mold much better than Karl Anthony Towns does. And I know on paper, the offense of the Knicks could be unbelievable. With Karl Anthony Towns manning the five. Who protects him on the defensive end? He's not going to have Rudy Gobert backing him up constantly. And you could say, okay, but the Knicks, the wing defense, like he's not going to really have any challenge. Like, what is going to happen when you play Joel Embiid? They got a deep team, Philly. You're just going to constantly double team Joel Embiid with OG Anunoby and Karl Anthony Towns. What's going to happen when Tyrese Maxey's open? What's going to happen with Paul George? You're going to have to double him when he's got 35 and he's on a heater in the fourth quarter? What are you going to do? With Mitch, you allow yourself to go up one-on-one against the top centers in the league. And of course, he's got to stay healthy. It's the only chance that he's got of stopping the best centers in the league is if he actually stays in the court. And that's another argument for another day. We've had it on here, and we will continue to have it here. If you're just joining now, I'm Bryce Gelman, talking Knicks, talking Karl Anthony Towns, why this should just be disastrous. Or just why, not even why it would be disastrous, but just why it doesn't make any sense right now. And why anyone in their right mind wouldn't do it. I just don't. First of all, okay. I don't see it happening. I can't see it. Leon Rose has constantly made the smart decision. He's been patient. He's not gone out of his way to make a big splash for a guy who wasn't going to fit the team. And I get that there's a fit there with Karl Anthony Towns. But at what point does what you give up versus what you get back impact what you are going to be able to do? It's the age-old question in sports. Am I giving up too much in this trade? You make the trade for Mikal Bridges because you know the fit is good, and you're not giving up any actual players who played meaningful minutes on the Knicks. Shake Milton, good riddance. Bye-bye. Diakite, like, bye. You didn't play. You trade for Karl Anthony Towns. You got to match that salary. You don't have an expiring deal like you did with Bojan Bogdanovic to attach to a deal. You have to give up a player who's going to be meaningful for your organization if you were to keep it. And two of those guys. Bye-bye Mitch. Bye-bye Julius Randle. Is that really the smartest possible move that you can make right now if you're the Knicks? I don't think so. I really don't. And again, it's like the league's worst kept secret that the Knicks love Karl Anthony Towns. I will be the first one to say, and I know I speak for a lot of people out there, we can never doubt Leon Rose. We always have to keep our trust in Leon Rose. If he made the move for Karl Anthony Towns, eventually I would come around and like the deal, right? Like you just know that whatever they do has been the right move so far, besides a few signings. Besides Kemba, I mean, there was little risk there and high reward factor. Evan Fournier, that wasn't too good. Like you don't know. You really don't know. But every other move they've made has been solid. This is something that would completely alter the franchise. Like you're giving up your two mainstays over the last 5-6 years. Mitch being the longest tenured Knick with Julius right behind him. And you're doing that for a guy in Karl-Anthony Towns who, as I mentioned, won absolutely nothing in Minnesota before Anthony Edwards got there. It could be a great fit. Okay, understood. Great fit. Karl-Anthony Towns, 5-out offense. Karl-Anthony Towns shoots 43% on catch and shoot threes. Julius Randle, 35%. It's 8 percentage points better if we're really getting into the stat. That's a big deal. I get that. That's awesome. That would be great. But to give up Julius Randle and Mitchell Robinson and said, plus picks, you just know that any team that you're trying to trade Julius Randle to is going to ask for picks back, no matter what the one-to-one swap is. I don't know. I really don't know. And maybe there's this possibility that Julius Randle gets re-signed by the Knicks. The Knicks sign and trade him for Julius Randle for Karl-Anthony Towns. Maybe that's a possibility where they don't have to give up Mitchell Robinson. I think that would be an easier pill to swallow. But at the same time, there is this thing eating at me right now when I'm talking about this. I need Julius Randle to have an opportunity to win with this team. How sweet it would be watching him up there. Again, the guy who changed everything by signing with the Knicks. He did not have to sign with the Knicks. They had nothing. Steve Mills was running the organization. The idiot Steve Mills, who didn't make one good decision in his entire tenure as GM. Julius Randle had no idea the direction of the franchise. He had no idea the Knicks were going to go out in 2020 and sign and hire Leon Rose and Worldwide West and Tom Thibodeau. He didn't know that. He was coming into one of the worst situations in the NBA, but he did it. And that should be rewarded. You don't just trade him away when we get good. If you're Leon Rose, you don't just do that just because the grass might be greener. The grass isn't always greener on the other side. And I think that this is just an instance of that. Like maybe the analytics, maybe the advanced statistics support it better than Julius Randle. I just don't know how you give up Mitchell Robinson in that deal too. I just cannot come to terms with the idea of giving up two mainstays on this organization for the last 5-6 years. That's why I don't think it's gonna happen. I really don't. I don't know. But the other thing of this is just trying to decipher and pick apart like the thought process behind making this move. Like you don't do that move. You don't make this move just because you lost out on Isaiah Hartenstein. I think maybe if you kept Hartenstein, this would make more sense with Hartenstein able to back up Karl-Anthony Towns. Then you have very long, lengthy, good shooting. Like the spacing is there. Okay, fine. You don't have Hartenstein back. So just because you lost out on him, you're going to go out and try to make a trade for Karl-Anthony Towns because you don't like the potential lineups that you have? You got to see what you have first. Wait a couple weeks into the season. Julius Randle's trade value can't get any lower than it is right now. I mean, yes, he can have an awful start, but that could be chalked up for a multitude of reasons. Whether it be, he's still the shoulder injury is still lingering. There's so many different players, new guys, and new phases on the Knicks team. Whatever. Like, based on everything we've seen, Julius Randle doesn't have much trade value. So, especially coming off an injury, what is the downside to playing him a few weeks or waiting until the trade deadline to make a move like this? Like, what is the downside? I don't know. And Ben Ridholtz of Knicks Film School made a really good point on Twitter the other day. I think it was today. And I brought this up a little bit earlier. Like, how do you protect Cat defensively without Rudy Gobert? Like, does top wing defense substitute for that kind of rim protection? I don't think so. I really don't, because what is the wing protection going to do against Jokic, against Embiid, against Giannis? Lengthier guys. Bigger guys. Mitchell Robinson is that guy. You give him up in that trade, you lose that. And of course, again, it's all a force with Mitch. Mitch could easily get hurt, and you don't have him the entire year. But I don't know. First off, I can't see it happening. Second off, if it does happen, we're all going to have to live with it. And I'm sure at some point the Knicks will be successful with Karl-Anthony Towns, but I need to see what the Knicks could be with Julius Randle as the number 2 option on the team. People constantly are discrediting this guy and overlooking him and disrespecting him in the media. I'll give the fans credit on this. The majority of the people that I have seen on social media are in full support of Julius Randle coming back and finishing what he started with this organization, or at least giving him the opportunity to see what the fit is with Julius, to see if they really need that spacing and the 5-out offense and the catch-and-shoot threat that is Karl Anthony Towns. I need to see it. I think we all need to see it. Because Knicks fans, we appreciate loyalty. We appreciate and will always love the guys who are there for us at our lowest. I can go through 100 names right now of Knicks players who, yeah, sucked. They were awful, but they were playing their asses off for the Knicks when the Knicks sucked. And giving the fans a show as good as they possibly could, even though Lou Amundsen couldn't guard telephone pole. All right, that'll do it for today's quick little live stream here. I just had to touch on this. And of course, the Yankee stuff is still very potent in the back of my mind, the front of my mind. But we're going to be talking to my guy, John Jastrzemski, on Friday with my video a week about the Yankees, about the issues with Brian Cashman, with Aaron Boone, his idiotic comments that he continues to make in these post-game press conferences. So we're going to talk about that with my guy, JJ. So stay tuned for that. Newest One Giant Step reacting to episode 2 of Hard Knocks out this morning. Check it out. I tweeted about it. It's the best episode that I think Sean and I have done with One Giant Step. I know it wasn't too exciting of an episode of Hard Knocks, but I think there were a few tidbits in there that I think were interesting, and we make sense of them. So go check that out. That's all over my social media. So until Friday with my interview with JJ, thank you guys all for coming out here and watching this live stream. See you all then.